Hi, I'm David Lee, and welcome to another adventure with me in Culinary Capers. I'm going to make a wonderful dessert today that's really quick, and this one is easy, and I have to give credit to my dear friend in Pennsylvania, Lorraine Nelson. We were having a really formal dinner party one night, and had all the silver out, and Lane brought dessert, and I go, wow! And wait till you hear how simple this is to do. And that's what I love about Lorraine. She just can make stuff, and this is her homemade recipe, and I talked with her on email and phone several times, and I'm going to put the recipe online, but as she said, you can't really screw this up. Our ingredients are pretty simple. We're not going to make our own pie shell because we want to be this simple, so we're going to use one pie shell. This happens to be Publix. And then she calls this the Costco berry dessert because we're going to use half a bag of their triple berries. This happens to be 4 pounds of berries. So we're going to use half of it. So it's 2 pounds of berries. And then we're going to use a half a cup of cornstarch. When I put her recipe directly online, she calls for flour, and I've used flour interchangeably, but I switched to cornstarch because then we get away from the gluten. And I can use a gluten-free pie crust with it too. Although a couple of my gluten friends, they'll just eat the berry dessert, the heck with the pie crust. And trust me, you'll be happy with that too. And then we got a cup of sugar. That's it. So let's start by rolling out the pie shell, which is the hardest part of this job, which is not hard. And while we do that, I'm going to put the berries back in the freezer because we're only going to use half of them today. So first thing I did was get a tray to put under my tart pan. You can use a deep dish pie plate if you want. You can use a springboard pan. Lorraine used a tart pan for presentation purposes, and I just happen to have one, so I'm using it here today too. But please, please, with this dessert, put a tray under it. And I always use aluminum foil for easy cleanup. But please put something here because this is going to ooze out around the edges, and we don't want to smoke up the apartment. And here at Lucina, if I smoke up the apartment, I get to visit with all my friends in the fire escape. So we're going to start with our magic canola spray. Okay, now we'll set that aside right here for now. And we're going to get one of our pie shells out. And we're going to put the other one back in the fridge. And in a few days, we'll make another one with the extra berries. You can buy the berries anywhere you want, but I got to tell you, economically speaking, that bag of berries at Costco is a pretty darn good buy. We're using 2 pounds of them. Okay. We're going to put a little flour down here, just so our pie crust doesn't stick. And we're going to roll this out. And you don't have to do this, but I think it cooks a little bit better if you roll out the pie crust. And as Mom taught me, you always roll from the middle out. And let's see if we're big enough now. We are big enough for our tin. Sometime I'm going to try I think with the next one, I'm going to try to make it more rustic and just put the berries in here at the last minute and then fold it over and just come out with a rustic dessert. But I'm following Lorraine's recipe for you here today. Now we all do this differently, but I want to get this up, and I don't want any more flour than I have to, so I'm going to brush it off. I probably always use more flour than I need to, but I'm afraid of sticking on my counter here. Okay, now then, put our we're going to get this down in my pie shell here. Okay. So now how's that? Now we'll just take this across here. There we have our pie shell. Now I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes just to get it nice and cold before we put the berries in it. So Lorraine said you can't mess this up. So I'm not going to try, I'm just going to kind of that seems to me to be a half a bag. Get these back in the freezer. Now for our cornstarch and sugar. We just put them both in here. Cornstarch always sticks to it. Now, there's no way to do this without getting your hands in here because you really want to get all these berries coated. As best you can. And there will be some excess sugar and cornstarch. Okay, I'll be right back with you. I'm going to just wash my hands off here. Now we'll get our pie shell out. And I'm just going to pour this into here. There's no magic to this. And I bet you're saying now, wow, look at all those berries. And it's going to cook down very nicely. It calls for some butter to be dolloped on top. So I like to put about 2 or 3 tablespoons. Oop. That's all we do. We now put it in a 425-degree oven for about 45 or 50 minutes. 2 things I want to share with you though. For some reason, sometimes it takes longer than others. It'll take at least 45 minutes. And this will all cook down. You'll see the finished product in a minute here. But the secret is just to watch when you see the pie crust get a nice crusty brown on it. And you won't see it all around because it oozes on there. And about 30 minutes into it, you may want to open it up and you may see some cornstarch, some white on the top. So Lorraine says just take a spoon and kind of mix it up a little bit, just so that it does stir up. So once again, 45 to 50 minutes, and we're looking for a nice brown on our crust, the crust that we can see. So here we go. Here's what it looks like when it's done. And for whatever reason, this time it took about 55 minutes before it was done. You want to make sure, maybe it's hard to tell about the crust, but you want it nice and bubbly. And when you pull it out, we happen to put this in the refrigerator for about a half hour, 45 minutes, which helped gel it too. So it's best served slightly cold, I think. So one for me and one for the crew. Now, some people like it plain. Some people want a little ice cream. And if you're at my house, you get a little whipped cream too. There you have it. This is Lorraine's Costco berry dessert. Try it. I'm sure you're going to like it. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.